Alright, so today I'm back with another Blue Lock leak video, and today we will go over chapter 314, which is super short. However, trust me when I say that it was pretty action-packed, as we once again see both teams being on the offensive. But I don't want to say too much, so you will just have to sit back and watch to find out what happens. Anyway, before jumping into it, please leave a like and a comment, as well as join the Discord server. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Also, if you want to check out the leaks for yourself, then I will put a link down in the comments where you can look at them. Now before going into it, I have to warn you guys that for this week, there are only 10 chapters. Not only that, but there are no translations at all at this moment. However, honestly, the pure panels are pretty wild, so let's get into it. We start off by seeing Aiku. Aiku actually looks in, as he looks closely at the Nigeria teams and tries to analyze them, thinking back to both Bello's and Kuso's plays from the last chapter. After that, we get over to Onatsi, who starts to sprint with all that he can all the way from his side of the goal, as we remember him saving the goal in the previous chapter. After that, we see Aiku actually saying a lot of things. However, what he said is still just a mystery, but I'm guessing that he is telling everyone how they will defend against Onatsi and what they will do to stop him. Anyway, the ball had fallen high up into the sky, and Rin tried his best to go and get it. However, Obobona was able to jump way above Rin, and was able to head away the ball without having any real trouble, if I'm being honest. The ball then goes over to Kuso, who, like always, is just looking so cool and aura farming as he gets the ball. But it won't be as easy as he might imagine it, as right as he gets the ball, the hero and goat of Blue Lock Isagi Yoichi comes in his way. Kuso tells him something, and I'm dying to know what it was. However, we'll have to wait. Anyway, it's not only Isagi who has gone to stop Kuso, as we also see Ryo coming from his side, and I'm guessing that he tells Isagi to work together with him to steal the ball. But Kuso then puts out both of his arms towards them, which makes it so that they can't really get to the ball as easily as they would want to. Suddenly, Onatsi speaks up from behind Kuso, and they get eye contact before Kuso styles on everyone as he makes a backheel pass towards Onatsi. However, the Blue Lock 11 isn't going to let the Nigerian team roam around freely on their side of the pitch, as we see, as instead of Onatsi being the one to get to the ball, it's instead Karasu, and that panel just looks sick. Anyway, Karasu then smirks, and I can imagine that he says something that taunts them, as Onatsi looks a bit annoyed. Meanwhile, Kuso straight up looks angry towards Karasu, but with that blue lock, he now has the ball, and is starting their counterattack. Hiyori is in an amazing position up on the field, which is why one of the Nigerian players tells his team to block him. Karasu then says something towards them, probably saying that it was all a setup, as Karasu then passes the ball to his right side, and on that side we see the future #1 striker, who is none other than Chigiri, who looks super fired up. He gets a smirk on himself as he says something before he absolutely flash steps behind one of the defenders, who has like no chance at all at stopping Chigiri as he flies so fast forward. Even Kuso looks back at this, and I can imagine how he as a speedster sees this, and is also in pure amazement by Chigiri's pace. Anyway, after Chigiri have made the Nigerian players right into fools, he gets into the perfect situation, and he then passes the ball into the box. In the box, we see a ton of Blue Lock players, and the one closest to Chigiri is Rin, who looks at him. We also see Onatsi saying something, but after that we see that the ball wasn't going to Rin. Hey, it's Natsu mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're already down there, why not leave a like as well? But instead, Isagi, who looks totally locked in right now, as he has his meta vision eyes out and ready as he is running towards the ball. However, at the end of the panel, we see a foot, and it's wearing a white colored shoe, and from the looks of it, it's the Nigeria team who has that color on their shoes. Which means that Isagi will most likely get stopped in the next chapter. But anyway, yeah, this is pretty much all there was to it for today. Sorry for not having any translation. However, it didn't drop alongside the leaks, and it's 8 AM for me, so I have no choice but to try and get this video up with what already exists. At least I would think that it's better than nothing, but if you disagree, then let me know down in the comments. Anyway, now let's actually get into everything and talk about all of this. Firstly, we get some information saying that there will be a break next week, but also some information on chapter 315, which is titled Robbery Arc. Now some of you might be confused, and for good reasons. However, as this was only 10 chapters, this chapter will be split up into 2 parts. I don't know if you guys remember it, but it was the same thing in the PXG match around the time when Yukimiya was getting subbed in. Now what does this mean, as there's a break next week, and honestly, I have little to no clue. It could be that there's a break next week, and then after that week we will get part 2 of chapter 314. And after that week we will get chapter 315. That's at least what I think is the most logically thing, and what I believe will happen. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Now, as we have no translations, it's a bit hard going over any of it. However, I will talk about some small things. Firstly, let's just get into the most exciting part, which was the end, if Asagi will score or not. And I fully believe that he won't, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, usually when we get goals, they are at the end of a chapter. And yeah, it can be technically said that this is at the end for this chapter. However, as this is a part 2 that doesn't apply, as we will get more of this chapter later on. After that, I want to point out that the shoe is once again not dark as the Blue Lock's shoes are, which means that it will most likely be a Nigeria team player. However, if it's Onatsi, then I will be a bit upset. I feel like they continue to milk Onatsi too much, then it will get a bit dragged. The best case scenario for me is that Obo Abona comes in and stops the ball from ever reaching Asagi, or you know what, even Bello, as he has been nowhere to find in this chapter so far. Which is obvious, I know, as this isn't his place on the field, but I'm pretty sure that you get my point. I don't necessarily have a problem with Onatsi, as I believe him to be a pretty cool character. However, it feels like if it will be him again, then he will overshadow his entire team, and I would like for it to be a much more balanced approach to the team. Now yes, Onatsi is the star of the team, but that doesn't mean that he is supposed to be all the way up on the attack, and then at the next minute back at the defense. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Moving on from that, I'm super interested in what Kuso said when he saw Chigiri's speed, as it must have been something where he complimented Chigiri or something in that form. As you guys know, anything revolving around Chigiri, I'm all here for, which is why I'm so excited about it. Also, going back to the goal, the possibility of one isn't totally out of the question. I do think that Isagi won't be getting this goal if this attack leads to one, as it's pretty set up for him to get blocked. However, it could be that, for example, Obo Abona comes and tries to get away with the ball, but then he gets tag-teamed by another from the Blue Lock team, maybe Bachira or someone else. It doesn't really matter who, but that could lead to them getting the goal. Now, do I think that a goal is about to happen? No, not really, but I just wanted to point out that there's still a chance, and that the dream isn't dead. But yeah, let me know whether you believe a goal is coming or not. Anyway, with that said, I'm glad to have seen Chigiri getting some spotlight in this chapter. However, I really wish for Bachira to get his time to strike soon, because if I'm honest, then for me, the most perfect way this match could go is if Chigiri, Bachira, and Isagi scored 1 goal each. Now, will that happen? Most likely no. However, those are my favorites in this lineup, so anytime they are on the screen and are getting some time, I'm super happy for them. Now honestly, I'm pretty done talking about this chapter. However, I wanted to use a bit of time in this video to ask you guys if you have any videos ideas for me. Now, why did I talk about it here? Well, firstly, I'm not gonna lie, but I need the video to be a bit longer. But also, I thought that it would be a great opportunity to hear about what you guys have in mind. I remember when I used to watch YouTube and when someone I watched asked for video ideas, then I would try and come up with the best one so that my idea would get picked. It sounds kinda corny now. However, it was really fun. But yeah, that's why I thought, why not leave it here and ask you guys? But anyway, that's everything. Just let me know down in the comments what you thought about this very short but still action-packed and kind of insane chapter. And most importantly, leave what you guys think will happen in part 2 of chapter 314. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.